support.
The maestro, please!
Yet another week where the charts updated later than they should have. At least this time it was just later that day as opposed to later that week as in yesterday. This'll be for the week of
March 14th, 2026.
On this day of music back in 1993, Unplugged, the recording from the MTV Unplugged series from Eric Clapton, would get to #1 and stay there for 3 weeks. It would go on to become his best-selling album, and oddly enough, still to this day, is the best-selling live album of all time.
You ain't never seen them pies of talking.
An orchestral adaptation of Jeezy's first commercial debut album, Let's Get It, Thug Motivation 101. This was done very well, and honestly, it hits hard, so shout out to the Color of Noise Orchestra, as well as Jeezy himself. Oddly enough, Ludovico Einaudi's first compilation of all of his solo piano work, given I would call it a compilation, but there is new material on here as well, such as his newest piece, Memory 1. Quite the list of covers from this season. We have older ones like The Cars and Sting. We have the middle ones kind of like Coldplay, Usher, Third Eye Blind. And we even have new ones like Olivia Rodrigo, Charlie XCX, Billie Eilish, Teddy Swims. Of course, the highlight's probably going to be the orchestral version of Taylor Swift's Enchanted.
Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
We're halfway into March and there are still 2 Christmas albums on the jazz charts.
Singing.
Album number 8 from Mitski, following up her previous album in 2023. You actually had a chance to listen to this album in its entirety before it was released on February 27th if you attended one of the Tansy House listening events. It was worldwide listening parties that Mitski did at various independent record stores on the 21st and 26th of February.
No more bad news.
Album number 9 from the Gorillaz, and if the text on the cover art wasn't a big enough hint, there's actually a lot of Indian classical instrumentation and influence in this album, besides, the usual Gorillaz stylings. Oddly enough, that script you see is actually Devanagari, which is an official script of Nepal. Almost 10 years later, since 24 Karat Magic, we finally get a solo studio album from Bruno Mars. Now, you can call this his 5th overall because of the thing he did with Silk Sonic, but still. Pink Pantheress's remix album of Fancy That, Fancy Some More, is now the better charting of the 2 albums. It's currently #1 on the dance and electronic chart.
And now I need some help from the maestro, please!
I gotta know you're meant to be the man I need. Talk to me.
I mean, it won Album of the Year at the 2026 Brit Awards, so it's no surprise that it got back into the top 5. Funnily enough, it didn't just get to #1 in the US, this also got to #1 in Canada and Portugal.
That's what I want, that's what I want. That's what I want, that's what I want, that's what I want.
This has spent a total of, 13 weeks at #1? Will it get a 14th? Maybe, maybe not. I am erring on the side of not, but who the hell knows with this album.
Debí tirar más fotos de cuando te tuve. Debí darte más besos y abrazos.
Honestly, if I was Bad Bunny, I would do a deluxe edition of this album at this point.
I just might make her my baby. I just might make her my baby. Hey.
It's amusing, because like I said, it's been 10 years since we had a solo studio album, but his next release that he's doing for Record Store Day is actually called The Collaborations, which is a compilation of all of his collaborations that he did with other artists. Despite the tardiness of March so far, it's actually been giving us a good number of albums to talk about. Hopefully this continues into next week, and it updates the charts on time.
And now I need some help from the maestro, please! Maestro!